Hey everyone, welcome back to Patriot Ridge Farm. Yes, that's snow on the ground. So we were expecting it. No big deal. It's just a dusting, really. All right, hear me out on this. What if you heard that Iranians have hacked U.S. water treatment facilities? What if, and you're going to hear the pigs in the background, so pardon me. Pardon them, actually. So what if you heard that China has infiltrated all of the United States critical infrastructure? Natural gas transmission, electric grid, nuclear power facilities, transportation, communication, you just lay it out there. Everything that we depend on for our everyday lives today. What if I told you that there was recent attempted cyber attacks on water treatment facilities to the degree of trying to alter chemicals and everything else in water supplies to either sicken or poison people? And what if I told you all that stuff's been happening? Go back to the first week of December, do some news research. You could do corporate, non-corporate, independent, whatever, and you'll see it. That Iranians have attempted to and did try to hack and enter and alter U.S. water treatment facilities. It's absolutely 100% true that China has inserted malware into our critical infrastructure. So when I hear things like that, of course, with the lifestyle that I live, I want to dig deeper. I want to find out more if it's a lot of hyperbole, whether it's an agenda, but you'll find it across the spectrum on corporate media, independent media, everything. In those searches, I ran across some interviews with some, we'll say, national security experts because of their former positions. And their interpretation of everything was, and what they assume will happen, is that China will press the button, so to speak, to wipe out all of our critical infrastructure before they attack Taiwan. Now, knowing that they have access to our critical infrastructure, you know they've got access to Taiwan's as well. So instituting a cybersecurity attack on the U.S. would pretty much cripple the U.S., including a military response. The reason they would do that, according to what I was listening to, is that they will do that in an attempt to cripple the U.S. so they cannot respond to their attack on Taiwan. Now, here we are coming up on Christmas. And what if I told you that Hamas leaders came out and encouraged all young men of a specific faith to start attacking the U.S., and that radical clerics in the U.S. have echoed that message? We know it can happen. We know they're here. Our southern border's wide open. 30 people on a terror watch list they caught like since the beginning of October, and that was probably 2-3 weeks ago that I heard that. That's just who they've caught. Now, this isn't something to cause Christmas fear, interfere with your jingle bells, but it's a good stocking stuffer to keep in the back of your mind. I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I was highly encouraged by several friends who are like-minded to watch the movie on Netflix called Leave the World Behind. And if you've not watched this, put aside whatever differences you have, put aside whatever way of thinking that you have, and watch this movie, because it pretty much just plays out like I just told you, minus China attacking Taiwan. The scarier part of all of this is that a former president and first lady were executive producers of this movie and had great input into the script and the storyline, and the director said that it scared the living F out of him. And it plays out just as you would expect it to. Now, what if I told you that there's recent reports of concerns of rogue units within our military where they have concerns that these guys or individuals would try to perform a coup on the U.S. government? Fast forward to spring of 2024, and there's a new movie coming about called Civil War, about civil war in America, and it ain't what happened back in the 1860s. So Do I think somebody's trying to tell us something? No. Do I think every bit of this is highly plausible? Absolutely, 100%. Everything, all of the reports from one end of the spectrum to the other backs it up. And that puts me, not just me, but people like me and everybody in a situation. If everything goes down tomorrow, before I get into that, so also from what the national security experts were talking about was that they would expect it to happen sometime during 2024 before the presidential election, because they know the current administration is, or they feel that they are weak, inept, and wouldn't be able to respond. That's their words, not mine. I'll not get on any sides here. You understand where I'm going to go with this. But anyways, so considering all of this, and now I'm trying to figure out where the heck I was at before I interrupted myself, put us in a position where if tomorrow everything goes down, what do I do? What do we do? There was a phrase I heard, we go from human to animal in 24 hours. Take a storm, a winter storm, rain, wind, knocks out power, knocks out internet. People are losing their minds within the last hour, or within the first hour. In 24 hours, they're crying. We know that a vast majority of our population couldn't cook an egg if their life depended on it. Most of them can't open up a soup can with an old-fashioned can opener, which you have to use by hand and crank it. Take into consideration that as soon as something like this happens and those emergency alerts go off, people are going to flood every grocery store, every store that has any kind of perishable, non-perishable grocery, food, consumption, items, everything. And it's going to be mayhem. And that's in the first 24 hours. And then there's no communication. No YouTube, no internet, no telephone. Cellular networks will likely be hacked and knocked down as well. And the reason I'm bringing all this up is because it all just seems way too ominous to me. And the fact that we have certain radicals of a certain faith, and we're coming up on Christianity's biggest holiday, a celebration, not to kind of devalue it here. And now their leaders, their clerics, their faith leaders are encouraging them to attack the United States, do everything they can from within. Now, I'm not picking on anybody. Would you guys stop? I'm not picking on anybody. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm not trying to incite anything here. This is all hear me out type of stuff. So someone in my position or your position, you have to decide. If that happens, do you leave your family to go to your job? Do you leave your family alone? Or do you lock down, hunker in, whatever the phrase is that's popular amongst today's, communities? What do you do? And the first thing I do is I grab my chainsaw and I start dropping trees across the driveway. There are people who know to get here if something like that does happen. And my choice of people who are coming are long-time friends, current former law enforcement, former combat veterans, like-minded folks who are going to bring something of quality and usefulness to a situation where we would possibly need it. Now, it's not devaluing any of my friends. I'm just saying, like-minded people with experience, with history, who knows, okay, I think you can understand where I'm going with that. But anyways, did a movie make me want to build an underground bunker and tuck my family away and prepare for the end? No. But there's a lot playing into this, and there's a lot of information out there that says the probability is extremely high. So take that for what it's worth. Think about where you're at. Think about your own physical security of not only yourself, your family, and your home. Think about your ability to gather water, treat, sterilize, sanitize, filter. Think about your ability to live out of your house, live from your house without relying on modern amenities of grocery stores. Think about that. Get that deep in your head. Don't panic. I'm not excited about this. Please don't think that I'm getting that way. That's not where I stand. But I'm a lot more comfortable knowing that we have taken the appropriate steps to be prepared in the event that something like that happens. Now, I did a lot of years of emergency medical services, and I did a lot of years of disaster planning and training and stuff. And one of the phrases that was commonly shared amongst our groups were, of course, it doesn't matter the disaster you prepare for, it'll likely not be the disaster that you face. So, do you have alternate means of communication? Check. Do you have food stores? Check. Do you have ways to protect you and your family? I can't say check that many times. Do you live in a rural environment? Check. Do you have a means of getting out if you have to? Check. Do you have means of everyday needs and essentials? Check. So, again, I'm not trying to piss on anybody's Christmas cheer here, and I'm not trying to instill fear. But the probabilities, I mean, you think about it, the United States made a lot of enemies. We made a lot of enemies over the years, and we still have a lot of enemies who are hell-bent on destroying us. In the movie, Leave the World Behind, it was hinted that it was Russian, Korean, Middle Eastern countries that were involved in this. So we don't know. I'm sure they're all probably buddying up somewhere in meeting rooms and planning stuff out to, follow through on that kind of thing. But anyways, not to be doom and gloom. I just had a few minutes here with some daylight left, and I thought, you know what? It's a good topic to share because people need to understand the risks and the potential that's there, especially during winter. It's 30 degrees, it's windy, it's been snowing, it's overcast. Solar wouldn't do me a whole lot of good today if I was 100% relying on it. Though it would help if I needed it. So, future plans, anyways. Think about these things, do your own research, pick your news agency of choice, and dive deeper and dig into it. And get to a state of mind or a frame of mind or a mindset, however you want to put it, of having the ability to take care of yourself and your family in the event that it all falls apart. Now, why would I be talking about that? Here I am, a farmer, have a farm YouTube channel, because I chose this lifestyle for better and more reliable sustainability, self-sufficiency, because over the years, I, for one, and I'm sure there are many others, have seen what we've come to. So, again, not to pee on anybody's Christmas cheer, not to take a Yule log out of your fire, but as I always say, get and stay prepared, stay free, God bless.